Welcome to We Hear Her. I'm Erin Trenbeth Murray, and I'm here today with another amazing woman who is sharing her story and insights into life lessons learned. Hey, I'm Erin Trenbeth Murray, and welcome to another edition of the We Hear Her podcast for women who succeed. I'm here today with one of my new friends, Danielle Wright, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about both kind of her world in the finance and banking industry, as well as share with us a little bit about her personal insights into how she grew as a leader and is empowering other women. So let me tell you a little bit about Danni to begin with, because she has quite the impressive background. It's so much, I don't think I can get through it all. But she's the managing director and head of Utah and Idaho for JP Morgan Private Bank. We're going to learn a little bit more about that because she's also the co-chair of JP Morgan Chase Utah Leadership Team, which is a more comprehensive regional area, and we'll learn about that. Also, I just want to tell you that she and her experienced team of local bankers advise individuals, endowments, and foundations on investing, banking, credit, generational wealth transfer, insurance, and philanthropic endeavors. Danni's career spans almost 15 years in the private bank in Denver, Dallas, and New York. Wow, all over the place. She recently served on the U.S. Private Banking Operating Committee as head of business management and partner to David Frame, the U.S. Private Bank CEO. She also spent half of a decade on the global investment and advice management team, where she provided advice and innovative solutions to clients across the world. So we're so happy to hear from Danni and have her here in Utah, her talents. She's already dove straight in, serving on several boards, just joined Women Who Succeed, has joined the Utah Black Chamber, and multiple other investments. She is local as far as BYU, went to BYU, got your bachelor's there, and studied finance and strategy and your MBA from Columbia Business School. And you have a little one at home as well, a daughter.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here, Danni.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Reading all that back, I'm like, oh, wow. There's
Right?
stuff I forgot about.
Well, and you thought so much, and you're like, and I'm, in one respect, 15 years, but then on the other hand, so much in such a short period of time. So maybe, let's start with maybe help us to understand the multiple roles that you play from a professional perspective. And then I want to hear about your lovely little one.
Oh. So on a professional note, this is my dream job. So I, maybe I'll tell you a little backstory, but basically I was here on vacation about a year ago, and I stopped into the Salt Lake office, and I was part of JP Morgan, but I was in New York, and I just saw what they were doing and absolutely fell in love with it. So I feel really lucky now to be on the team, leading the team. And my primary responsibility is the private bank, which helps anyone who has significant wealth needs. And we do everything that you just talked about. But then in addition to that, I'm responsible for how JP Morgan Chase shows up in our community in Utah and in Idaho. And I'm really proud of that because my co-chair in this leadership role is also a woman. Her name is Brittany Westover. And so we have women leading Utah, and I just think we have a phenomenal team. We have a great opportunity, and I love JP Morgan Chase and everything that we do. So I'm really happy to bring that locally to the clients and people who need it.
Oh, that's so fantastic. In some of my previous roles before being with the foundation, JP Morgan Chase was always such a pillar to the nonprofit community as a whole, and really appreciate the investment they make in local communities. So that's so great.
I'm glad to hear.
Such an intimate part of that.
Yes, and I have a lot to catch up on, a lot to learn about what's been done here. But I am really pleased. I looked through. I had someone pull like the history of JP Morgan Chase here in Utah. A few things surprised me, but made me really proud. We've actually been here for 100 years. Everyone was like,
I had no idea.
I know. I didn't even know. We started out it was American Savings and Loan downtown. But through that whole time, it was just so fun for me to see all the ways that we've been a pillar in the community and have invested in the community in a number of nonprofits. And we have some really exciting things that are going on right now. But looking back, everything that we've done, we've worked really closely with the World Trade Center. We've worked really closely now with the Sorensen Impact Center, and now with the Women's Utah Business Center. So there's a lot of good stuff that we've done, and I'm excited to jump in, learn more, and see how else we can contribute.
Okay. So what I'd love to know, because we're going to dive into a little bit about, I know you have such a true passion and love for diversity and inclusion and for women, and to have unique voices and perspectives in the baking world that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to know, how old's your daughter?
She's 2. Well, she's almost 2. I'm saying she's 2. I'm rounding up, but she's almost 2. She's, I think her birthday's in May. And yeah, I cannot believe it's been 2 years, really.
And she's your only one. So you're just launching into this new realm, and it's going to be so fun. It's going to be such a ride for sure. What are you hoping when she leaves high school and she's ready to start looking at what is her future going to be? What traits or attributes are you hoping that you're trying to instill in her now that she will carry forward on her new adventure?
That was such a good question. I hope she's confident. And I think that's one of the hardest things, especially for women, to feel, especially when you're at the age where you're entering the workforce and you're kind of uncertain about so many different things. You're uncertain about what you're good at. But something I really like about little kids is they have no fear to try something new. Like, it doesn't matter if she tries the same thing 100 times and fails, but she's going to keep trying because she's just interested in learning. But also, I love when she's proud of herself for learning something new, and she's got that kind of internal confidence. So I hope she keeps that. I hope that she also, and I hope this for all women, but I hope that she's able to achieve her dreams, like whatever she wants to do. I hope that I'm supportive of that. I hope that she also has the confidence in herself just to go for it. I felt that way in college, at least when I was looking to go into the workforce. I felt like I had opportunities and I had some internal confidence. And I think for me, that's made all the difference. Although it's been an effort I've had to work on, my whole life. But I hope she has that. And she's very young now, so we have time. But I'm like, that's probably what I would wish for her.
You'll blink.
Yeah, and then it's gone.
Yeah. When you say something that you've worked on your whole life, what do you mean by that? Tell me more about that.
So I've asked my mom about this. My mom was very good about finding something for each child that they were good at, finding something that we were good at and spending time on that. So maybe it was playing sports. For me, I guess I was talented in academics, so she emphasized that. And just each child had unique skill sets, and she wanted them to find something they were good at, really so that we could feel what it feels like to be good at something and to have confidence in ourselves and then build on that. And so, yeah, there's certain things in my life that I feel really confident about. Like I don't second guess myself. There are plenty of other areas where I'm totally insecure about things. So when I say that I worked on it my whole life, like I sometimes have to take a step back and say, I've been successful at a few other things in my life. This is a brand new opportunity and I might feel insecure about it right now, but I know that I can try hard things and I know that I can succeed in other areas where maybe that's ambiguous what the outcome might be. And if I can succeed there, then maybe I can succeed here. So I do think it's a constant effort because, like many other women, probably many other people, I have a whole bunch of doubts and insecurities about myself, but I have to sort of push through those in order for me to try new things, try new challenges. And I've had to do that most of my career.
And coach yourself.
Yeah.
Coach yourself up. I had someone once tell me, listen to yourself less and talk to yourself more. And I thought, I'm not sure. I wasn't as quick as you, not academic. Think about it for a minute. But it was the self-doubt that was spinning or talking in my head. And I was listening to too much negativity or self-doubt.
Yeah.
And the person was trying to say, talk to yourself. Tell yourself, you know what? I was really good at that, and I was really good at that. So I should be able to, I can try this,
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you just said reminded me of that statement.
Yeah.
Do yourself less and talk to yourself more.
I follow that.
So when she is, let's say when she is 40 and you're out playing bingo and shuffleboard and maybe some golf.
Yes.
She's going to say, my mom was blank. What do you think she'll say?
think she'll say my mom was kind. I try to approach everything with a sense of kindness, especially in my parenting. Although she's again so young, like she probably has no, but no understanding of what I'm actually trying.
I'm going to check in with you when she's 14.
Yeah, we're gonna try it. That's the other thing to say it then. But I do think that's kind of an approach I take to life. Is like if we could all be a little kinder in our approach, kinder with how we treat people, kinder with like understanding what other people might be going through. I think that just helps overall. And almost back to your point that you were just talking about, like kind to ourselves. I think that's something that is really important to me in my life. I don't know that I'm great at it all the time, but it's definitely something I'm working towards. And I hope that Annabelle, when she's older, she sees that, at least in how I've approached life and approached parenting and how I've raised her.
Well, she says that. I mean, if she says my mom is kind, I mean, what else could you ask for?
That'd be a win.
That'd be a huge win. And to let you know that we have just gotten to know each other lately, and you come across to me so disarming and so genuine and kind. And I'm curious, how do you think that those traits lend themselves, or maybe you find challenges with that in the world of banking?
Yeah, those don't always go hand in hand. I've been able to find my own place within banking by being my own genuine self, and maybe like kindness kind of has a bit to do with that. Now, I always say like kindness is not being nice. Like they're different. Kindness is intentional. It's your approach. It's how you think about what other experiences people might be going through. Nice can sometimes be like nice on the surface, or like being polite. Like really, you're thinking something else. In my career, I've had many opportunities to help other people out. Maybe other coworkers, clients, all sorts of different people, and it has always like it's karma. It always comes back to me tenfold. So it's something I kind of invest in, is like, how can I be kind in my approach? How can I be thoughtful about other people? How can I help? And I think that has been one of the underpinnings of my career that's helped me move so quickly and also accomplish everything that I needed to. I had a friend once say, like if someone's going to give you bad news, you might as well hear it from someone who's like being thoughtful about their approach or being kind to you, or someone that you like, that you've worked with. So that's kind of been my thing. Not that I'm always giving bad news, but like sometimes it's kind to tell someone the truth.
Oh, absolutely.
And sometimes that is bad news. So I just try to always use that in my approach. And I think there's certainly a need for that in banking, because this is people's money. It's their livelihood. It's the most personal thing that they deal with. And it enables them to do everything they want to do in life. It can be the biggest source of stress and pain. And so when you're working with someone on such a personal level with something that means so much, it's really important to be human about it.
So do you find you've been around the country, different cities? Mm-hmm. Have you found that your approach has been received differently in different cities that you've lived in?
Yes. When I moved, a short illustration of this is when I moved from Texas to New York, I greeted everyone with a hug. And I learned quickly, you don't do that in New York. So
I think you're pickpocket.
They're like, what are you doing? Yeah, I guess my approach has changed a little bit. I think New York taught me a lot about myself, a lot about the world. I loved my experience there, and I love New Yorkers for their very New York way. I just finished up 10 years there, and so I feel like that was a really solid chapter in my life. But yeah, I think I've learned to adapt to different teams, different styles, and I think that's also a great skill to develop in yourself, is like, can you adapt and figure out what skills of yours are needed in a particular environment, team, city. So I've definitely changed my approach where needed, but I think generally speaking, that's probably something consistent throughout my years in different places.
Different degrees. Yeah, I like how you express.
Yeah.
So you're being kind to the New Yorkers by not hugging them.
Right.
That makes it very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So anyways, and I really do. I've had so many amazing mentors that I've looked up to who have also and maybe less on maybe more focused on being genuine about how they approach their work, how they present themselves, and how they live kind of an authentic life. I've had a lot of people to look up to like that. So I try to modeled that myself.
So you've had it's so much success and professionally, and certainly now with your little family. What is it like for you when it appears and feels that, when you put your mind to something and you're curious, you're very curious in nature about people and how you can navigate and make things work. You recognize that money is very, very personal and this impacts their lives. So you've had a lot of professional success, it sounds, with all your career changes. Could you talk a little bit about a time where you didn't have the win and how a young woman that may be hearing this podcast who has had a pretty good go of it and then hits something hard, how did you cope or deal with that or move forward?
First of all, I think if you look like the bio that you read, it looks like there was a lot of success. What it doesn't highlight is a lot of failure. And I think that's something important for everyone to know is like no one who has been successful in their lives has done so without any failure. I probably had just as much failure as I had success. And recognizing that I think is important because otherwise you're going to hold yourself to an unrealistic standard and think like this person was successful and didn't have to try that hard. But like behind the scenes, tons of failure right and left. I'll give an example of, a big failure, but I've just tried to view failure as a learning opportunity because I think if you can learn from failure, then you're succeeding. Like then you've learned something from it, then it's all for something. And then you can maybe avoid that next time or, make a different decision next time, or you're just smarter for it in the future. So going back to my years at BYU, I actually applied to the Marriott Business School and I actually didn't get in the first time. And I say the first time because I eventually got in, but the news was devastating to me because I had felt like I had succeeded in different times in my life. And all I wanted to do was go to the business school and I didn't get in. And so I remember reading the email, there was a rejection email and just feeling like, what do I do next? Like, what do I do next? And I remember having a conversation with my parents, and this will tell you a little bit about the parenting style that I was brought up in. And I think I approached my parents and I said, well, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to pick a different major. I'm like, there's something else and that's what I'm going to do. And my dad was he was very understanding. And he said, we'll support you no matter what you want to do. And that sounds like, a good plan. And my mom, she said, no, you've always wanted to go to business school. Like this has been your dream. Just get there and try a little harder. We're going to like retake a class. You're going to get a tutor, like get in there, roll up your sleeves. Like this is something you've wanted and I can't stand by and see you not do it. And I'm sorry that I get emotional and I did not expect it. But those are the type of mentors that you need in your life. You need someone who recognizes your strengths. And when you fail, they're there with you, supporting you and encouraging you to try again. And so, gosh, we'll have to edit this out. I'm like crying way too much. But that is, I think, that is what mentorship is to me. And that's what advocacy is. And so, so my whole career would have been different if I hadn't, listened to my mom back then. And anyway, so I took that failure and I went back and I retook some classes and I got tutors and I just applied again and got in. And I think about that a lot because sometimes talking about, the bio and if we were to list all of our failures, like I think if you look at successful people in the world, that's what they do. They just get back up again, try again, like try a different way. Like if that is your goal, don't let anything stand in your way, try it until you succeed. So that's that. Sorry, I got so emotional, but that I think I've seen time and time again in my career. I've tried to do that with those that I mentee and those that I help. And that's who we all need for us. Like we need someone that's cheering us on to help us succeed and help us achieve our dreams. And so, so I like that story because that was a moment of failure and I've learned from it and it's made everything else possible.
I just love that there's this combination of both parents with unconditional love and both with support, but the different personality or flavor of each. And your mom, just tough love. Like, oh, no, 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 yeah, we are going to get a tutor and some classes. And I think she sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Love to meet her.
Yeah.
But it's obvious that represents the woman that you are today, that tenacity and work ethic. And I wonder the young folks today, certainly not all of them by any stretch of the imagination, but as they're moving into their college and careers, that tenacity to push through. So it didn't work. It didn't work. You failed. Try again.
Yep.
Try again. Try again. And I wonder, is there a magic potion? Or with your 2-year-old, I think that I helicoptered way too much. I saved my boys way too much, because I wanted them to be so happy and successful. I wish I would have been more like, I need to let it fall hard early on and start building that up. What do you think it will be like when your little 2-year-old is 9 and didn't win first place at the science fair, or 16, 17, and asked to prom? What do you think that's going to be like?
Those are such tough moments. And I think my instinct probably will be to helicopter.
Save.
And I'm going to have to pull myself back out, because I think you're right. And we have, as humans, we have to experience the failure, and we have to experience the low to know what the high also might be. So yeah, I think it's tough because, and I'm thinking about this in my professional life too. I've had many great managers and mentors and bosses. The best ones, looking back as I think about this, are the ones that let me try it out myself. Like, let me try. They knew maybe I'm going to fail at something, but I'm going to learn. And I think that's kind of a balance that I guess parents have to think about. And if you're not a parent, maybe you're a manager. But having their back when they do fail, like being really supportive and encouraging, but also letting them know, like, and I'll do this for my daughter, like, this is something you have to do on your own. Like, you have to go through it on your own. I could be here to support you and motivate you and get you all the right resources, but you've got to do it. But we'll talk when she's 14, because I'm sure I'm not going to be doing everything I wanted to do. It's hard.
No, from what I hear, you just write a plan of how to parent, and then it works perfectly, and they do exactly what you want. Well, I think you are a tremendous role model for your daughter. I bet your parents are so incredibly proud of the human being that you are, personally and professionally. And it's truly been a pleasure to get to know you just the last few months. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to jump in, learn more, and help out.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today for the We Hear Her podcast. I'm Erin Trenbeth Murray, and we will see you next time. Thank you for taking the time to hear her. Join our efforts and learn more about women who succeed at womenwhosucceed.org.